The championship game was seconds from ending. The scoreboard glared 68 to 68. Kazu held the ball, every nerve screaming.
One shot, one chance to prove I am more than a street kid.
He crossed left, then right so violently his frame left an after-image, a translucent clone that mirrored his every move. Takeru lunged for the phantom, off balance. His eyes widened in disbelief as the real Kazu was already gone. Kazu floated to the rim and kissed the ball off the glass, just as the horn blared. The crowd erupted. But the move that brought them victory, the one that created a second him, came with a devastating price. 1 month earlier, Kazu reigned over the streetball courts with a style no academy had tamed.
Out here, the only law is the asphalt and the rhythm of the ball.
He could rise like gravity didn't apply, dunking on rusted rims to the roar of onlookers, but his dreams stretched beyond these alleys. He wanted the big stage and the secret cost that would nearly break him to get there. Every evening, the street court became his kingdom, but his eyes never stopped scanning the horizon.
One day, I'll stand in a real arena. They'll all know my name.
In his pocket, a faded photograph was his only link to a family that felt incomplete. His mother, smiling in the picture, had worked herself to the bone to raise him alone.
I'll pay her back. I'll be the player she believed I could be.
But amidst the applause, a new pair of eyes had started following his every move. A man in a dark suit lingered at the edge of the court, motionless as a statue. His gaze was unwavering. It was the look of someone who was searching for something.
Why does this guy keep showing up? What does he want with me?
The stranger brought with him a storm that would test everything Kazu had ever believed about himself.
You, street kid, come here.
Finally, he speaks, but his tone, it's like an order.
I represent the elite basketball academy. You have raw talent. I am offering you a spot, but you will abandon your street tricks. Only the system, no exceptions.
No freedom. That crossover is my soul. Can I really give it up? Fine. I'll do it. If that's the price for the pros.
The next day, Kazu stood inside the academy gym, surrounded by pristine floors and sharp uniforms.
So, you are the streetball clown. Don't embarrass us with your no-defense showboating.
He wants a reaction. I won't give it. But his words, they dig deep.
The academy promised a path to glory, but it demanded the erasure of everything that made him unique. Coach Kuroda's drills were ruthless, endless suicide sprints and defensive slides until legs gave out.
Faster. My grandmother moves quicker than that pathetic excuse for a drive.
The Street King can't even keep up with a basic drill. Stick to your asphalt circus.
On a sharp lateral cut, Kazu's ankle rolled inward with a sickening crack.
No, not now. Bite it down. Don't let them see.
He forced his face into a mask of effort, hiding the searing pain behind clenched teeth. In the empty locker room, he wrapped the swollen joint in tight bandages, his hands trembling.
This will hold. Just a few more practices. I won't let this be the end.
He limped back to the drill, masking each jolt of agony as the coach's stopwatch ticked mercilessly. But every step was a gamble, and the clock had already started counting down on his secret. When the gym lights died and the doors locked, Kazu returned like a ghost chasing its past. A single bulb buzzed overhead, casting his elongated shadow across the silent court.
They stripped it away, but this move is in my blood. I need it like air.
He launched into the forbidden crossover, the ball a blur, his body splitting into phantom halves.
Agony shot through his ankle, but he refused to stop. This was the only truth left.
From the dark stands, Takeru watched. His smirk had vanished, replaced by something unreadable. He saw the injury, the desperation, the raw talent that defied the Academy's iron rules. For a long moment, he stared. Then, silently, he rose and melted back into the shadows. He didn't report it, but his silence was a tightening noose around Kazu's hidden wound. Kazu remained oblivious, lost in the rhythm of his fading freedom, unaware that his secret now had a witness. During the next day's drills, Ayame's clipboard paused mid-scribble. Kazu's left foot dragged just a fraction too slow.
Kazu, your ankle. How long have you been playing on that?
It's nothing. Just tired. Don't worry about it.
He's lying. I've watched him too closely to miss this.
She said nothing more. But on her clipboard, she circled Kazu's name and underlined ankle twice. In the intra-squad scrimmage, Kazu's cuts were dull, his jump shot flat. The system had hollowed him out.
You are a ghost out there, kid. Either wake up or pack your bag.
Told you he'd crumble. Street trash can't handle real pressure.
If this keeps up, his body will betray him in front of everyone.
She kept his secret, but every stumble tightened the coil. The breaking point was only a matter of time, with the team trailing by 3 and seconds ticking away. Coach Kuroda barked Kazu's name. Kazu sprinted onto the court, ignoring the flare of pain that screamed up his leg. On his first hard cut, the ankle buckled like a snapped twig. Kazu crumpled, gripping the joint in silent agony. The whistle shrieked. Play halted. Every eye locked on the fallen street kid. Coach Kuroda stormed onto the court, face a thundercloud. The clipboard in his hands snapped in half.
What did you do? You hid an injury? Answer me.
It's over. Everything I worked for.
Takeru watched from the bench, his expression frozen, not with mockery, but something heavier. 2 teammates lifted him by the armpits, dragging him off the court like a broken puppet. As he disappeared into the tunnel, the weight of his shattered dream pressed heavier than the hands that carried him. In his cramped apartment, Kazu sat motionless, the coach's final words still slashing through his mind. You are suspended indefinitely. You've dishonored this academy. The memory stung sharper than his swollen ankle. He limped to the old box his mother had labeled, for Kazu, the truth. The one she said would explain his father. Beneath yellowed papers, a photograph half eaten by fire. The edges crumbled at his touch. Despite the scorch, the young man's jacket bore the same academy emblem, the same stern jawline. Beside the photo, a sealed envelope, his name written in his mother's hand. Kazu, if you ever read this, know that your father didn't abandon you. He was forced to stay away. Forgive him. A family registration document, the father's name blacked out, but the first stroke still visible beneath the ink. The sketches on the wall, the burnt photo, the letter. They all led to one inescapable name.
Kuroda. My own coach. My father. He knew who I was the entire time.
Clutching the burnt photograph and letter, Kazu limped into the coach's office, his eyes blazing with a decade of unanswered questions.
Kuroda, is this you, my father? The man who abandoned us?
What is this? You are delusional. Stop this nonsense right now.
And this letter from my mother. She said you were forced to stay away. Forced by what? Shame.
Coach Kuroda's composure shattered. His fist hit the desk, rattling the trophies like thunder.
I am your father. I left because I was a failure, a pro career that ended in injury and disgrace. I couldn't face you, the system, the harshness. It was my twisted way to prepare you for a world that broke me.
Kazu's legs gave out. He slumped against the wall, hot tears streaming as the truth detonated in his chest.
So every punishment, every insult you hurled, it was your sick way of protecting me?
Silence filled the room. The father and son stood on opposite sides of a chasm that might never close. Kazu limped out without a backward glance, abandoning the jersey, the gym, and the man who had built a prison of lies. The next morning, his locker gaped empty. Nothing left but a note and the worn sneakers he'd worn in the streets. Ayame found the note first. Her hands trembled as she read the scrawled words. I am done. Don't look for me.
He's really gone. The team is breaking without him.
Over the next week, the team lost 3 straight games. The academy's rigid system had no heart left. Kazu returned to the streetball court, but the chain nets and graffiti brought no comfort.
Why does every dribble feel like dragging a chain? This used to be freedom.
He played listlessly, his shadow clone nothing but a ghost of past glory. The crowd's cheers faded into static. His father's betrayal twisted in his gut. The academy dream had been built on a foundation of deception. A week later, 2 figures approached Kazu on his old asphalt court. Takeru stripped of arrogance, and Ayame, eyes red-rimmed.
Kazu, I was wrong. Dead wrong. And I am sorry. the coach. He wasn't just being cruel. He built this system to prepare us for the finals against the Iron Giants. After you left, he broke down. He said he failed you as a father and a coach.
We're losing, Kazu. No one else can break the Giants' defense. We need your crossover.
Kazu's jaw clenched. The words father and coach seared through him, but so did their desperation.
I know you hate him, hate me. But this team, it's nothing without you. Come back.
Silence stretched. The ball at Kazu's feet seemed to whisper of unfinished battles.
They need me, after everything. But can I ever trust them again?
He didn't answer, but in his eyes, a flicker of the fire that once made him a king on these very streets. Kazu's hand slipped into his pocket. Rough edges of burnt paper met the smooth gloss of his mother's photo. He placed them side by side on the asphalt, one a memory of warmth, the other a wound.
She wanted me to forgive him, and they need the real me on that court.
Kazu, you don't have to forgive him. Just come back for yourself, for the dream you built on this court.
Kazu looked up at her, then at Takeru, waiting at the edge of the court. His arrogance gone, slowly, he rose, the basketball finding his hand like an old friend. His grip tightened with purpose.
I'll come back, but I play my way. The crossover stays.
Ayame's face lit up with relief. Takeru nodded slowly, a ghost of a long-lost smile breaking through. He didn't do it for the coach. He did it for the teammates who had become family, and for the boy who once ruled these streets. They walked off the court together, the championship game now a burning horizon he was finally ready to face. The next day, Kazu stood in the locker room, the same one he had walked out of in disgust.
It smells the same, feels the same, but everything is different.
Coach Kuroda was by the board, his back turned, shoulders slightly bowed.
He won't even look at me. Fine, I am not here for him.
Takeru caught his eye and gave a short, firm nod. No words needed. The team filed toward the tunnel. The distant roar of the crowd, a rising tide. Kazu ran his fingers over the bandaged ankle beneath his sock. A dull ache answered, but he pressed forward, joining the line, his heart a drumbeat of anticipation. The arena lights exploded as they burst onto the court, the noise a physical force. The championship game had begun. The game was a war. The Iron Giants' defense smothered every play, and with 10 seconds left, the Academy trailed by 1.
The system says stay disciplined, but discipline won't save us now.
Kazu's eyes flicked to Coach Kuroda on the sideline, a man who had hidden his love behind cruelty. Then his gaze shifted inward. He remembered the streetball court, the wind, the freedom of his own rhythm.
This is who I am. No system can cage my soul.
He pushed the ball forward and unleashed the forbidden crossover. His body blurred. A phantom clone materialized, a perfect double that mirrored his every motion. The crowd gasped. The defender froze, utterly lost between two phantoms.
This is my truth, Father. Watch me.
Time seemed to stretch as Kazu, and his phantom drove toward the rim, the game hanging in perfect, agonizing suspense. Kazu's layup kissed the glass and dropped through the net just as the horn shrieked, sealing the victory. The scoreboard blazed 72-71, Academy champions. The team swarmed Kazu, a pile of joy and exhaustion. Takeru pulled him up, laughing with tears in his eyes.
You really did it, Kazu. That move. It was unreal.
For the first time, Kazu felt truly part of something larger than himself. On the sideline, Coach Kuroda stood motionless. Then, a single tear traced down his weathered cheek.
He did it, my son. He proved I was wrong.
Ayame rushed onto the court, tears streaming, still clutching her clipboard.
Kazu, your ankle. But you, I am so proud of you.
Surrounded by his team, Kazu looked up at the rafters. The shadow of his clone finally at peace, the celebration had faded. The gym now a cavern of silence. Confetti littered the floor. Kazu sat alone on the bench, unwrapping his ankle. The bandages were stained with sweat and effort. Footsteps echoed. Coach Kuroda appeared, his suit jacket slung over one shoulder. He stopped a few feet away.
You are still here.
I needed to feel this place one more time. Before, whatever comes next.
Coach Kuroda nodded slowly. Then he extended his hand, palm open and bare, no clipboard, no whistle. Kazu stared at the offered hand, a bridge over a decade of silence. Then he reached out and gripped it firmly.
Before you go, there's something you should have.
Kazu opened the box. Inside, perfectly preserved, was the crayon drawing he'd made as a child, Dad and me. For the first time, Kazu looked at the man and saw not the rigid coach, but a father burdened by his own scars. He left the gym behind, carrying the drawing and the weight of everything unsaid. The old streetball court welcomed him like a silent confessional at dusk.
This is where I first learned to fly.
He held the two photos side by side. His mother's warmth and his father's scarred past. They fit together now, not as wounds, but as the halves of his story. His shadow stretched along the court, then subtly split, a phantom emerging from his silhouette. The shadow clone stood behind him, no longer a weapon, but a silent sentinel.
So this is what it means to be whole. My past, my pain, my gift, all in one.
He picked up the worn ball, spun it on his fingertip, and gazed toward the city lights awakening beyond. The Street King was no longer just a legend of asphalt. He was the bridge between who he was and who he would become. The next day, a highlight clip of the championship game went viral. Kazu's crossover, the phantom clone, and the buzzer beater. Streetball prodigy shatters defense with impossible move. Shadow clone becomes legend.
They're calling it the Phantom Step now. You are famous, Street King.
It was never about fame. It was about being true to who I am.
Ayame arrived with news from the academy. Coach Kuroda had officially reinstated Kazu, and the system would now allow personalized moves.
The coach says his son taught him that talent can't be caged. He's rewriting the playbook.
Later, in the academy gym, Kazu saw the revised playbook, handwritten notes in the margins, all in his father's script. He looked up to see his father standing by the door, arms crossed, but a ghost of a smile on his lips.
The academy is built on discipline, but discipline without heart is just a cage. You broke it, Kazu.
And as Kazu turned to leave, his shadow stretched along the polished floor, and the clone appeared, no longer a phantom of rebellion, but a guardian of his truth. The streetball court was empty, lit by the final rays of sunset. Kazu stood at center court, waiting.
I knew I'd find you here. This is where your journey began, and mine, back then, watching from the shadows.
Without a word, Kazu pulled out the two photographs, the one that warmed his heart and the one that burned it.
She always said you'd come back. I never believed it.
I don't deserve forgiveness, but I want to earn it, every day from now on.
Kazu knelt and placed the photos side by side on the court, his mother's smile next to his father's regret, their shadows elongated. And then Kazu's clone materialized, not just his own, but bridging the gap between them.
She'd want this. So, let's start over. Not as coach and player, but as father and son.
Coach Kuroda grasped the offered hand. And for the first time, the handshake held promise instead of protocol. They walked off the court into the twilight. Three silhouettes bound by blood, basketball, and the shadow that finally found peace. The next morning, the academy gym buzzed with a new energy. The rigid silence was replaced by laughter and experimentation.
How do you make that look easy? My feet feel like bricks.
It's not about force. It's about rhythm. Let your body feel the asphalt, even on this polished wood.
Ayame stood at the sideline, clipboard lowered. She wasn't tracking drills anymore. She was watching a team being born.
This is what I wanted when I built this academy. Not robots, artists with a warrior's heart.
He held up the revised playbook, its pages filled with notes like Kazu's crossover and phantom step option. During the scrimmage, Kazu drove to the basket, his shadow splitting effortlessly.
I finally got it. Look.
The team broke into a huddle, hands layered on top of each other, a symbol of their new unity. The phantom had become their symbol, not of one man's rebellion, but of a team that learned to fly together. In the quiet morning, the streetball court held its breath, the chain nets swaying with a memory of yesterday's battles. Kazu stood alone, the worn basketball resting in his hands, like a trusted relic. His shadow stretched long, and without effort, the clone appeared not summoned, but simply there, a part of him.
This was always the dream. Not victory alone, but the freedom to be whole.
He pulled out the 2 photographs, the unscathed memory of his mother, and the scarred image of his father, and held them against the sky. The clone's silhouette gently overlapped them, binding old wounds into a single, evolving story. He tucked them back into his pocket, close to his heart, and picked up the ball. As he walked away, the clone fell into step beside him, no longer a phantom of speed, but a guardian of his truth. The Street King had found his throne not in the roar of crowds, but in the silent acceptance of who he was. And in the stillness, the shadow clone remained, watching over the court where a boy became a legend born of pain, redeemed by love. A year later, the streetball court had changed. New graffiti, a repaired rim, but the same asphalt heartbeat. A new generation of kids ran drills, their sneakers scuffing the court where legends had been forged. Sometimes, when the light hit just right, a faint shimmer of a second silhouette flickered beside the fastest players. Kazu, now a student coach at the academy, watched from the sidelines, his shadow steady and whole.
It took a broken system to reveal the truth, that the greatest strength comes from embracing who you are.
In his pocket, the 2 photographs remained, now framed together on his desk, a daily reminder of wounds healed. Coach Kuroda entered, and without a word, stood beside his son, both now carrying the same quiet strength.
They're faster than we were. The legacy is in good hands.
The shadow will always be there, not as a trick, but as a reminder that we are never alone.
And on the court, a boy in a red hoodie executed a crossover so fast it left an afterimage, a new legacy born from the same streets.